Derby delight. The Eagles clinch RAC Derby number 51 with a 30-point win over arch rivals Freo. The 10th consecutive victory, now an all-time record, eclipsing the run of 9 wins which started from the very first Derby back in '95. The defence held the Dockers to their second lowest score in Derby history as the Eagles soar back into the 8 for the first time since round 1. Welcome to this week's episode of Eagle Review, proudly sponsored by Kennards Hire. Shop in-store or online, kennards.com.au. Do it from your couch, it's that easy. Tyson Beattie, welcome back to the desk. Adam Simpson said this morning on radio that the boys were just that ecstatic about getting out in front of any old crowd. Doesn't matter if it was 30-odd thousand purple strange weirdos, but the fact that footy is back with some kind of ambience and atmosphere, big tick there. Yeah, Stephen,
it was roughly 25,000, mostly Freo fans, but Simo says that the atmosphere within Optus Stadium was a real positive for the team. And you could see as the game went on, the team got stronger. And that's been kind of a theme of the last 3 weeks, really standing up during adversity.
Yeah, we had both captains missing the Derby. I mean, that would happen very rarely, and I would think it's entire history. So the vice skipper stepping up, and Freo came to play early doors. I know West Coast really got on top. They had the first 6 inside 50s for the game before Freo registered their first. And they really fought back. It ended up being 8 apiece at the quarter-time break. But the dominance of Matt Taberner up forward for the Dockers made a big difference, was clunking anything in his direction. 2 goals, 2 in the end. A little bit wasteful, which included one of the all-time Hall of Shame efforts in the goal square, with big Tommy Cole coming from nowhere.
Oh, what a moment. It kind of reminds you of that 2010 grand final with Heath Shaw when he tackled Nick Riewoldt on the goal line.
And he was in the commentary of the day as well, which just made it even better.
How's the irony in that? But, you know, taking your opportunities at critical times is such an important element. You had that mishap from Taberner, but also right at the end of the first term, Big Darcy giving away a free kick to Jack Darling.
It should never happen against a makeshift ruckman. Very silly from Sean Darcy.
Yeah, and Darling converted after the siren to give us a narrow lead going into the first break and a bit of confidence.
Absolutely. Momentum our way. West Coast really just made the most of their opportunities on the day, TB. I mean, they were 41% scoring efficiency in comparison to Freo, just 27. So they were a bit off the mark there. But here's a more interesting stat for you. So Freo forced 7 more turnovers than West Coast. I mean, we had more of the footy. That's bound to probably happen. But West Coast plus 4 goals in turnovers. That's just striking when the opportunity's at best. But that second quarter, TB, we've talked about it. It's just been a little spurt in the last 3 weeks, whether it be the second or third term, where West Coast just put the foot down. And this one was the second quarter. 3 goals in what seemed like 90 seconds. You got Natanui, Kelly, Yo, and even Waterman bobbing up for 2 of those 3 goals as well.
Yeah, it was a pivotal moment. But when you're leading the competition in clearances and Nick Nat dominating and the midfield starting to gel, what you do notice is if you do get that run on, then you don't have the opportunity to reset as an opposition.
Yep.
You go to 6-6-6, very difficult to put a man behind the ball once you're starting to get momentum. So that was a real critical part of the game.
That's right. I mean, the plus 39 uncontested marks. I mean, that's a big one. It showed how happy West Coast would be back on the Optus Stadium playing surface, moving the ball around, seeing the best avenue of attack, but also as a bit of a time eater late in the game as well. Having that man behind play and able to run down the clock to your advantage.
It felt like a really short final quarter. It also had plus 15 inside 50, so midfield domination was definitely a part of it.
The third quarter was the interesting one though, TB. Yeah. I mean, they've set a Derby record, which was, it stood for a long time.
Yeah, so Freo scoreless in that third term. We had 2 goals, 3, but also plus 13 forward half stoppages. So that was a real area of domination as well.
Yeah, when you got Nick Nat firing, that's a massive number to deal with. I mean, despite that 5-goal lead heading into the fourth quarter, I think many West Coast supporters were like, well, I'm off to dinner. I got bigger plans on my Sunday night. But Freo gave us a big scare. I mean, they kicked the opening goal here, lob getting away from Tom Barras, boots the opener of that term, then takes this nice one against Gov as well, but he's missed that. Taberner had 3 touches combined for the second and third quarter, was well held, but then came back in the fourth, has missed this one, struggled to convert. Those 2 misses could have been a completely different story in that final quarter.
Yeah, and Taberner also had a bit of a fumble on the half-back line, which ended up being a turnover, JK kicking the goal and sealing the game. But, you know, Justin Longmire talked about how it was a mature performance by West Coast, and Freo are going to be better and better as the years go on, so they'll get there.
Interesting to see Jake Waterman go behind the footy in the fourth quarter. I don't know whether that's the first time they've done it, or that's the most effective he's been in that game plan. But a couple of contested clunks look real quality. They'll be thrilled to get those 4 points, TB. That's 3 in a row, obviously. And you look ahead, though. I mean, you haven't beaten a team that currently resides in the top 8. And you got Collingwood on the horizon. Simo said post-game that they're going to have to go to another level in order to beat such a powerhouse and one of the flag favourites in the Pies.
Yeah, and they were terrific against Geelong on Thursday night, really touched them up. However, they won't have two key players. They won't have Jordan De Goey, he's out through a finger injury, and they also won't have Steele Sidebottom. So, it could be a good time to get them. Hopefully Luke Shuey also returning from his injury, the captain. And if you look a little bit further to Geelong, they're also missing two players, Selwood and Ablett, two superstars in a couple of weeks' time.
Licking lips, TB. I like some of those
We can't
stats.
look too far ahead, though.
Of course, no. 1 week at a time, mate, 1 week at a time. All right. Let's touch on the Ross Glendenning medalist. It was, of course, the big show, Josh Kennedy, and what a momentous occasion to bring home the medal. 250 AFL games, of course, 22 with the Blue Baggers. It's the third time he's run a Roscoe medal. He won it for his 6 marks, 4 contested, 5 inside 50s. What a target. With his 11 disposals, though, he's had 8 scoring shots. That is unreal. The next highest from West Coast was just 2 scoring shots. So he was the life of the party.
Yep, the Glendenning Allen medalist, by the way, Stephen. Ben Allen.
Oh, that is very politically correct. I like it.
Well, he only won by 1 vote, though. It was probably one of the most even spread of medal votes that we've seen in this award for some time. 1 vote over Brad Shepherd, who had 23 disposals, 100% efficiency. Again, fantastic. I actually sat next to Brad's dad during the game, and I said he might have a chance of winning it. He thought Tim Kelly might get it. He was fantastic as well with 18 touches and 6 tackles.
He was. Elliot Yeo was on 3 votes. He had 20 disposals, a match-leading 14 contested and 7 clearances. Was a beast around the contest. 6 tackles as well. No votes for the midfielder Andrew Gaff, but he was quality with 24. Led the team for metres gained. Didn't come off the ground too. Jeez, he's an absolute endurance machine. And Reddo, know that he should probably have got a vote, but I thought he was very serviceable with his 21 touches in the midfield.
Not too bad. Luke Ryan also got a couple of votes for Freo in there as well.
He was good early, Luke Ryan. Yes.
What about Jackson Nelson's game? He's really stepping up. A personal best for disposals in a shortened game.
Oh no, 23 disposals. It's not going to happen when you're taking 20% off these games. But he and Duggan's had 19 disposals at 74%. Wanted to highlight just the efficiency that this young backline brigade are bringing the ball out of their back half. Very impressive. But it was an interesting day for the stand-in skipper in Jeremy McGovern and the cat and mouse tactics that were going on, TB.
Yeah, and McGovern, no votes for him in the medal, but he did make a nice speech after the game. However, you could see how much he was getting targeted through the game. Banfield went to him, but you could see most of the time there was 2 opponents on him, and he still was clunking marks.
I know, so it was interesting. Justin Longmuir almost saying, well, if it's going long down the line and we're kicking for distance, that ball has to come to ground, or you're going to outnumber Jeremy McGovern. So it often left Shep kind of loose in the back line, or Jeremy McGovern would peel back and be on the last line of defence. So it was very interesting to watch all that play out. It's time for a roast, I think.
All right.
Why don't we kick it all off with Frederick, first goal in the Dockers colours. He looked electric with a bit of pace, and this first one was a very clean collect. But the goal umpire, I'm not picking him first in my dodgeball team. Get out the way. He's got one on the buttocks. I enjoyed that.
That's tough.
TB, taking the 3rd best mark in 3 consecutive weeks with this absolute clunk. He's juggled it in 2 hands, didn't mind it. The Chi building up a similar, streak himself with almost 3 in a row unrealistic attempts, but he's not going to die wondering the Chi. I love when he flies for him. Good work.
He's still thinking of that moment down at Freo Oval, which you commentated, of course.
I think he's still up there, to be honest.
What about Lockie Schultz trying to send a footy through Elliot Yeo's skull?
That's hurt a bit.
And what about this one? Yeo tackling Brayshaw into the goalpost.
I think he's thanking his lucky stars that someone invented padding on the post, because otherwise he still wouldn't have woken up, I don't think.
Post-match press conference.
You're going to cook the coach here, are you?
Well,
I'm not a part of this one.
Look, it's a funny one.
Yeah, I think he was pretty keen to play well, Justin. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he just had that look in his eye at the start of the game. So that wasn't Justin, was it? Sorry. Yeah, that's you there.
I mean, it's pretty hard to remember a name of a journo, even a live press conference, let alone one that's being held on Zoom.
I think their name comes up in the bottom of the screen. Let's not give Simo an out there. OK, we're going to go around the grounds now. So let's go with Langford. He could probably walked it in from there for the Bombers. No good. Lukey Beveridge thought he was the T1000. He can just walk through doors apparently now.
He's a beast.
Well, he gave it a fair crack. What about the tough, Channel 7 broadcast capabilities? I thought I was in the twilight zone when Bruce was calling.
Hamble didn't get far. Hamble was good. Back to McGrath. To Langford.
I hurt my head just listening to that one. What about, speaking of commentary, what about Levi Rock the Casbolt? Now, his goal kicking has improved over time, but didn't the commentators give him a jinx here?
The new Levi, no problem at all. Oh! Oh, Anthony.
Later in this ripping game, Todd Marshall had a chance to win the game. Robbie Gray, the great Robbie Gray, handballs it off. He misses from 10 metres out. Just says, you know what, I'll just do it myself.
Didn't he just? Pies Geelong, how's this? Ball goes over the back into the crowd. You got to know where your beers are, TB. That's got to be $50 spilled in that moment alone. I mean, wearing a Dockers beanie to a game, karma maybe?
Wet, cold and sticky for sure.
Agree. Now the winner. It's easy. It's easy. Taberner.
Absolutely. Snuck up like a librarian. You know the line, the great Dennis Camille line, the Coltrane.
Make your job